brother that passed on when his experience?
Yes.
She told me that she was with a brother.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did he die quickly, or was he killed, or die quickly, or something very quickly?
Something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't a lingering illness like she had. Yeah. Okay. And he looks quite handsome too. Kind of got the longer face, the dark hair. Yeah, he looks pretty handsome there. It must have been an older brother. I think it was an older brother. She was happy. She was happy that he saw her over. Who was the one with the beautiful voice, the singing voice? Is that your grandmother? Who liked to sing? They hummed, they sang. Who was it that went to the Christian church, that liked to go to the church?
The older sister.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because here she says, we've got somebody here singing hymns.
I guess I just want to ask you your story. How did you come into this?
How did we come and find out I was psychic?
Yeah,
Well, we were always interested as a family. My mother would read our tea leaves and talk about dreams she had.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 1970, I got in a very serious car accident. And on the way to the hospital, I died and came back. And I couldn't talk about it for many, many years of what happened. But soon after that, when I got out of the hospital and I was healing, I started to have visions. And then I had a visitation from a grandfather and a grandmother that had passed on.
Wow.
And it scared the bejeevers out of me. It wasn't pleasant. And then I began to realize that something had changed in my life. And I knew things about people, and I knew things about people that no longer were living that would show up. And that's how it began. And then I became interested in the metaphysics and the occult and started to read the tarot cards and on and on.
Was it very frightening when it
Yes,
first started? Would they
it was
just
very frightening.
show up in your house, or how did this work?
It usually worked while I was doing housework.
Uh-huh.
Maybe my mind was somewhere else, and I would turn around and a spirit would be standing there. And it is the mind, it's telepathic, so it isn't as if it would show up and be there on a physical level, but I would see it. There's only one time physically that a spirit showed up, and that was interesting, to say the least. But yes, at first it was very scary. But I got used to it, and now it's a common part of my life. I see them everywhere.
If you see them everywhere, how do you deal with that? Do you filter them out? Like, I walk down the street and I ignore people. It's,
Right. Yeah,
is it
like that. You ignore them. And they don't all have messages, and they don't have messages for you to pass on. But spirits are always looking for somebody to talk to the living for them, because most people in the living, because of culture or religion, or perhaps even mental thought process, are not as open to other energies as I am, and people like me. Yeah.
Do you pick up on more than just people who've passed on, right? You pick up on lower level energies, or is that what you call it?
Low-grade energies,
Low
and
grade.
sometimes they're called vampire energies.
Yeah.
What they have nothing good for you. They are sucking your energy. They live on chaos and despair, and they create energy in you. They create. It would be like, I think it was well said today by John.
Yeah.
He said, there is no love in their communication. They want to have chaos. They like despair, and from that they grow. If you're in a room of really down people,
Yeah.
if you've ever walked in a room of really negative down people, it's really hard to fight it off. Pretty soon you find yourself kind of negative too. I stay away from people that gossip or spread rumors, because to me that's really negative.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard sometimes when I'm in there and they're gossiping and I want to take part of it. I'm like, oh really?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can look at it logically, it's
Yeah.
not so unusual. And that's low-grade vampire energies. And they often work on sick people, and the sick people become sicker. like when I was in Jamaica, and I was commissioned, brought to Jamaica to work on a couple of cases. And one of them was a woman with cancer, and her husband was a doctor, and they couldn't cure the cancer. It kept coming back. So because they were Jamaicans, their culture supports another way of healing. And I didn't go there as a healer. I went there to get rid of the entities that were attacking her. And they actually attacked me. And if it didn't happen to me, I would tell you that I really didn't believe in it. I'm like, yeah, right, they attack you. Until I experienced that, them actually attacking me. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is not for me. I'm not equipped to do this.
How do people protect themselves from that?
Well, there are people that come in, that are equipped to working with really very negative, very evil, low-grade entities. And you can protect yourself. Sometimes it's really difficult to protect yourself. Sometimes, you know what I suggested to this couple? Move away. It's all around this area. And they said, we can't sell our house. These were seniors. But then I was young and they were seniors.
Yeah.
Move away. And you can protect yourself by doing particular rituals where you have someone come in that blesses the space and communicates with the low-grade entities. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to often get, I don't know, rid of them. You can use some feng shui. I don't know about that enough, but I know
Right.
some people use that.
She wants to do the English accent thing.
The what?
The English accent thing.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but-
she likes me to speak British.
Yeah.
So coming back to you, you developed these abilities, and then what is your life story? You did readings, and you
And then I
helped
began, because I had had a reading before this, I became interested. In 1966, I started yoga. I mean, I was already in that. I was in the 60s,
Yeah.
And then I started doing readings. I learned the tarot. And the teacher encouraged me, said, you're a natural at this. So I started reading for people. And honestly, a whole profession just opened up for me. I didn't think I'm going to grow up and become a psychic reader. And it just kept growing, and in the early 1980s, I started teaching classes about tarot, and then later I had a center and teaching people about spirit communication and tarot and spirituality. And in 1990, I wrote a book. It was a professional psychic reading as alternative counseling, which is now the Timeless Counselor, teaching people what to expect from a reading, what to get out of it, how to get the most out of it, and it just kept growing. And lecturing, and I kept traveling with it and going all over the United States and to Scotland and back there, and it happened.
Yeah,
Now I'm retiring, so I just want to come and do some ghost bustings.
that's great. We're glad to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would say it was a natural flow. It wasn't something I thought, and I would hold jobs in between because I believed I should have a job.
Yeah.
I should be a psychic reader. I mean, what kind of future is that? But it turned out to be an absolutely interesting process, and wrote 2 novels, one about a psychic girl, and so all happened.
Great.